You're listening to Frame Perfect Input.
Now live.
Ugh, okay. Headphones. Take this off. Whew. Welcome to Frame Perfect Input. Let me just set up everything. Okay, yeah. Welcome to Frame Perfect Input. If you're noticing a difference in the vocals, or the sound, or the volume, I apologize, but I am still messing around with the gain settings because I don't know exactly what I want for the gain settings. I think this will be the gain setting that I will stick with forever, for as long as this microphone is being used, for as long as this audio interface is being used. So, just a heads up. The volume might be a little different to all the other episodes. And, all the other episodes was a different gain input as well. So, you're probably used to this. But, yeah. Topic today? Linux. I have been converted to Linux. The specific distro that I've been converted to is Bazzite. And I think if you know anything about Linux, you probably would have thought that was the one I went with anyways, so not much of a surprise if you heard that. I was converting myself to Linux. So how did this happen exactly? Well, it's mainly due to a lot of Linux stuff in terms of, a few things. The main one was SteamOS through the Steam Deck, which I have, and I've been enjoying it a lot. I love how Linux works on there. And also because Windows, I just don't like Windows. But I can't get away from Windows completely. So I have to keep one computer with Windows and another thing Linux. That's what I did. So the thing I'm using right now to record this audio is Windows. And I have decided to keep this computer Windows because it's my main computer and I have to do a lot of stuff with it. But my laptop that I haven't been using for a long time, I say that, I haven't been using a lot for a long time, was maybe about like 2-3 years ago in university when I was using it, as I've been saying, a lot. But then I changed my my bachelor's and all that stuff, and then I stopped using it because I didn't need it. I wasn't on computers anymore. But I digress, that's a different topic. But yeah. SteamOS, the Steam Deck specifically, is one of the big reasons why I got pushed into this direction of why don't I just switch something to Linux? Why don't I try Linux? The second reason, I did say it, didn't I? Yeah, you can see how out of it I am, but the second reason was Windows. Windows I fucking hate. I do not like Windows. I really don't. When I was a kid, with Windows 7, yeah, loved Windows a lot. Windows XP, I was a really young kid, but I still loved Windows XP as well. I had the opportunity to use both of them. The Windows XP computer, I can't remember what it was, probably a Dell. No, it was an Acer. Okay, I got you. And then this one, Windows 7, and now I have Windows 11. From Windows 10, updating to Windows 11. With all the stuff that they're doing with spying and all that bullshit, I just don't want any of it. So, I've decided to convert my laptop into a Linux laptop, and I've decided to use Bazzite. So the reasoning for that is mainly because it's been talked about a lot, it's been hyped up a lot, and people in like the last 3 weeks, because of the Steam machine, with the price hikes, because of the RAM shortage, fuck you RAM people, the people that buy RAM, fuck you, I don't like you, because you're destroying everything computer related. Anyways, let me go back to it. The reason why I chose Bazzite was, of course, as I said just then, people were hyping it up a lot, and it is the gaming Linux distro. And the other reason is because 3 weeks ago, or like a lot of videos on this topic I'm going to talk about, 3 weeks ago, people were pairing this up with SteamOS because of the Steam machine. And they were like, since the Steam machine, since SteamOS is a Linux-based thing, they want to compare it and be like, because everyone's saying SteamOS is amazing, myself included, and they wanted to compare it to Bazzite. So there's a bunch of videos for that came out 3 weeks ago because of the Steam machine's release, I'm pretty sure. It coincided with that. But yeah, a lot of people were saying Bazzite is better. Sorry. And I can understand why, mainly because Bazzite has existed for a longer time in terms of like, in general. I don't know when it came out. I don't know. But Bazzite, it has a lot more support. It can be dual booted, so you can have both Windows and Bazzite running on the same system, on the same drive even, as long as you allocate? I've never said that before. As long as you allocate the space in the drive for Bazzite. And Bazzite, the reason I chose Bazzite, the main one, is because of the fact that I'm running a laptop with an NVIDIA 1650 GPU. And if you know anything about the SteamOS Linux distro, you would know that SteamOS currently doesn't have any type of support when it comes to NVIDIA GPUs. They're mainly AMD because the Steam Deck is, well, an AMD chip. If I am remembering this correctly, the Steam Deck uses an AMD-based chip. They had worked with them. They have recently they just added Intel support. Just recently, apparently. I don't know much about it. I did some research, and apparently Intel just supported it. What? Apparently Steam just supported Intel. I confused myself recently. So, and they have plans for NVIDIA to be properly supported on it. But NVIDIA is fucking annoying, and they don't want to throw their support drivers and everything like of the sort into a Linux thing because they hate Linux, I guess. But yeah, that's the main reason why I got Bazzite over SteamOS. I originally was going to get SteamOS. I saw it. I saw that it was a much more updated version, and I was just like, okay, I'm getting SteamOS. I put it onto a drive using Rufus, which is very nice. Thank you for that stuff, Linux community. And I was about to do it, but then I did some research, a little bit more, because of course I know that you can brick devices if you do something wrong. For example, BIOS. If you're updating your BIOS, make sure power is going to be available the whole way through. You don't pull out any of the drives or anything of that nature, because if you do, during the BIOS setup, you will brick your computer or device, whatever is doing it, and you're fucked. You have to fix that. So I didn't want to do that. I did not want to brick it. So I searched, and then apparently I found out NVIDIA just doesn't have its support for it yet. According to Bazzite, I mean, they have a SteamOS game mode type of thing. When you go for that, it warns you if you have NVIDIA or even Intel, it can be a bit weird because it will use the Steam Photon beta versions, so it's kind of unstable. So that all of that research made me move to Bazzite, because Bazzite has a lot more support and a lot more work done into it because of the time frame that it's existed, and they have support for AMD GPUs, Intel GPUs, and NVIDIA GPUs. Exactly what I need. So I got Bazzite. I got it yesterday. Took me some time. Took me just a little bit of time to get used to. Put onto my drive through Rufus. There's other ways to do it as well. Fortunately, on the Bazzite website, they do actually have a video linked talking about how to do the thing, how to add Bazzite to your laptop and make it that, or your computer, or whatever it is. And I put that on, went through all of the settings, and it was great. I have Bazzite working on there. I haven't really used it much, aside from chucking in some apps through their app store, which I cannot remember. I can't remember the sound of it anymore. The sound? Huh. You can see how out of it I am. I cannot remember the name of it anymore. But I've only had it for like half a day, so you can't blame me, alright? But it seems to be a lot better for my laptop. Because, as you'd imagine, since my laptop has a 1650, it's not exactly the most powerful laptop. I think it has a Ryzen 5500U. I might be entirely wrong about that. It's somewhere there, but it is a Ryzen. So it's not the strongest laptop. But apparently, according to Google, it is equivalent to a Steam Deck. So I basically have 2 Steam Decks now. But based off of my very small amount of using it, my experiences, it seems pretty good. It's very nice, very easy to use. Because when you compare it to most Linux distros, it will... The other Linux distros will be a lot harder to use. They use that command prompt a lot more, or command console, whatever you call it. I completely forgot right now, okay? I apologize, but the command prompt, I'll call it. No, I'll call it the console. With the console, that is the main thing you use. You do all of your actions through it, all of your problems are fixed through that, and you search up all of your info through that. But with Bazzite, it's a lot closer to Windows. Well, in the case that I have, it's a lot closer to SteamOS, but you get the idea. It's like Windows. It's pretty simple. Everything is there. You just click it, and it happens. Unlike some other ones where you have to search it in the console, and then you'll find it, and then if you want to like copy or download anything, you have to do it through the console. I know it makes it a lot safer, but like it's just hard to use as a beginner. Although I'm not a complete beginner on Linux. The last Linux I downloaded and used was actually in a virtual machine for university stuff because they were teaching us the ins and outs of Linux. I guess because that's what you'd probably use for programming. I don't know. It also helps with programming. I was in software programming, and then I dropped out and changed. But my experiences is with Ubuntu. I think that's what it's called. I don't remember the exact thing, but we had Ubuntu, and they asked us to like add a different thing. There was tasks with it, with coding stuff, using the console, understanding the console. My dumbass didn't understand any bit of the console. Nowadays, I probably would, but mainly just due to the stress. But I digress. That's a different thing to talk about. But my experience, although minimal, is not a beginner level. That's all I can say. But even from my stance, I guess, on this whole thing, it's very easy to use. It's very interesting to go through all the settings and understand exactly what it gives you. And it has a lot of applications that work with Linux. And even nowadays, for gaming, of course, Bazzite is designed for gaming. A lot of games actually work on Linux nowadays. And if it doesn't work, if you're playing through Steam, they have the Proton system. Proton Experimental is also there. That thing allows games to just work with Linux most of the time. It won't work 100% unless it was designed for Linux, or if that Proton patch or version, rather, is very good with that game and the device you're using. But a lot of games, just specifically from Steam, because that's my experience, works pretty damn well with Bazzite, with Linux. So, what's the takeaway from this? Why am I talking about this? Linux is a operating system that I can actually see myself switching to 100%, because what I'm using right now to my audio DAW, whatever you say, DAW, I guess, DAW, is Audacity. I'm using Audacity right now. I have other ones like Reaper that I like using, and Adobe Audition I used to use, but not anymore. But my main thing is Audacity. That works on Linux. Steam works on Linux. Firefox works on Linux. Spotify works on Linux. Like, there's a lot of stuff that works on Linux nowadays. Because if you remember back in the day when I was growing up learning computers and all that stuff, because I love computers, Linux failed to work with a lot of stuff. But nowadays, it's pretty damn good with the amount of different Linux distros for different styles. Windows styled or old school Linux, you can go for Wine, you can go for Lime, or you can go for what I got, Bazzite. And you can get a lot of just comfortable navigation familiar to you if you use Windows, or if you use iOS, macOS, I think it is. They have Linux distros that are of that style. And I think like last year, or maybe 2 years ago, something like that, recently, let's say, they had a Linux-based distro that was like trying to emulate Windows. I remember seeing that, and I remember a lot of people actually really liking it. But then also the Linux heads, if you will, if you want to refer to them as that, were they didn't like it. They didn't like the Windows style, but that's just how it is. Linux heads, how it is. But Linux, I can highly recommend right now as a way to just get away from Windows. This is probably a really good time to do it. Bazzite is the thing you can go for right now that is so simple to use, understand, and it doesn't weigh down your computer. With Windows, you have so many things running in the background that it slows down your computer a lot, and it can even tank your performance sometimes. Don't take that as gospel. That's just me speaking from what I feel. But gaming is in a very good spot when it comes to moving away from Windows. You can move away from Windows and play a lot of games on Linux nowadays. And that is what I hoped for a long time, and now that it's like really a thing, I'm happy to move. And also, like, if you don't want to lose Windows, you can dual boot Bazzite. So you don't even have to lose Windows for you to do that. You can just have both of them there and choose which one you want to run, depending on, if it runs on Windows or if it can run on Linux. So what's the big takeaway here that I want to give to you? Well, I've switched to Linux, Bazzite specifically, and I am having a grand old time. And I think right now, Linux would be a very, very good OS to switch to right now, or based OS to switch to right now. Windows is going down, it's going into the shitter, but it's the most easy thing to use, I guess. But it is also one of the most monitored things. I'd highly recommend frickin' go to Apple's stuff over Windows right now. But I would recommend Linux over both of them. So, like, I think Linux would be very good to go to right now. If you don't want to, you can always just dual boot it. But I will say, be extremely careful and follow every single step that tutorials give you when you are going to do this. Because at least in the video I saw that was linked on the Bazzite website specifically for Bazzite, there's some things if you do not follow or if you do not do correctly, you can brick your device. So be extra careful. But if you do it, if you decide to move to Linux, you're going to have a good time. You're going to be way happier because it is your device. There is no monitoring unless you put something in that monitors. But it is your device solely after that. And your data is not being taken on every single website you go on to, every single application you download. So, move to Linux if you wish. I can highly recommend it right now, but if you wait a bit more, maybe it'll be better. Because, I didn't say this yet, but SteamOS, they plan to, I did say this, didn't I? SteamOS plans to support NVIDIA. They have gotten into talks, and they want to support it. So, you can wait for SteamOS. And SteamOS is a really, really good Linux distro. I've been using Linux distro this entire time. I hope that I am using it correctly. If I haven't, fuck me. Anyways, that's it from me. That's it from Misty Mist. That's the end of this episode for Frame Perfect Input. I'm out. I'm good. And hopefully the gain setting is good. I'm out.